か信じられなくて立ち上がることに疲れていた何度も間違えても悔しさと優しさを知って乗り越えたその先には思い出に変わってくあなたがあなたでいる証をずっと守り続けてくれたらどこかの誰かに笑われてもいつも私がそばにいるから誰にでもつまずきがあって誰にでも希望があるんだそれぞれがかけがえない未来目の前のドアを開けてみようこの両手で飛び越えるんだ境界線私が私でいる証をぎゅっと握りしめていたいんだ明日の私につなぐ願いいつか叶えて笑いたいからずっと私だけのものだからずっとあなただけのものだから
Alright, welcome everyone to the first match of 3WC quarterfinals Sunday. We have 5 matches today, and the first one here is losers bracket, Australia versus Russia. 2 pretty evenly matched teams, I would say, coming in at seed 12 and 13. Hopefully should be a close one. Commentating this will be me, Vordi, and I'll be joined by iFlame. How you going, man?
I'm doing so well. I am looking forward to this one. This is going to be a high pressure match. Both teams here in the losers bracket on the brink of elimination. So a lot at stake at this one. And while we get the rolls in, it seems that Russia has won the roll, so they will be getting a second ban. Now, I do find it kind of interesting that you win the roll, you get second ban, first pick, but the bans are actually ABBA format. So most people, in my experience, do prefer to go for the first ban in the ABBA format, just so you can get that last ban out. But we are going to see the No Mod 2 ban for Australia. And while we go through the bans, you might know a little bit more about the players on both of those teams than I do. Is there anything notable about the either players from these two teams?
Yeah, I actually find a No Mod 2 ban from Australia pretty interesting. Australia is a pretty solid No Mod 2 country. You know, having Dummy, Sios, and you pick up, Vivace's played his fair share of No Mod 2s, but Russia did get the top score of No Mod 2 last week, getting almost a three-way, getting over 2.8 million, the highest score of the week. So I think that's just a respect ban. I think Australia can definitely play the skill set, but maybe just not as comfortable as Russia. And on the side of Russia, we have I think probably the strongest player being Welter, kind of matching that dummy slot of somebody who's just going to be on most maps. He played all but one map of both the qualies and the round of 16, performing pretty well across the board, so I expect to see both Welter and Dummy on most picks here.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the No Mod 2. I do think it makes a lot of sense for Australia. As good as they are at No Mod 2s, at this stage of the tournament, quarterfinals, most of these players should be comfortable enough on these kinds of maps. And it's more about consistency than, your raw skill cap on a certain pick. And I think Australia, after last week's performance, I think Russia are going to be much more consistent on the No Mod 2. And so they are going to just ban that out. And we're going to get a free Mod 1 ban from Russia. That's going to be Skin Thief, the speed pick.
Yeah, I think this is a fair ban. I think out of all of the strengths Australia showed in their match against Indonesia, speed was the strongest. I believe they got the best score of the week on that DT2, which is a similar, it was like 222 BPM, this one's about 230, similar kind of stamina. I believe free mod 1 is harder this week, but I think that's just Russia respecting Australia's speed comp, which I think is their best strength.
Absolutely, and worth noting, both teams actually did ban out the HD3, that is the low AR hidden pick, last week. So due to that, I don't think either of these teams really want to pick that HD3, and so I think we're going to see that fall through the bans completely this time around in favor of other bans that are more suited for the respective teams. Next for Russia, I'm wondering if it's possible we see something like the DT speed pick coming out next, possibly the DT2.
Yeah, I think you're right. DT2, I think, has been banned from Russia. Makes sense. Banning both of the high stamina speed maps. DT3 is in the same vein of speed, but I would say a little bit easier than that DT2 and free mod 1. I think you're right. As you said, both teams banned that AR8 hidden last week, and I think, if I have to guess, it's just going to be a handshake, a mutual agreement not to pick the map. I don't think either team really wants to risk playing it, but Australia does ban Hidden 2, which is also, hidden, not their strong suit, so it's not surprising to see.
No, Russia has looked solid on these Hiddens so far throughout the tournament. Not only the Hiddens, I think the Hard Rocks are going to be even scarier for Russia here throughout this match. Would not be surprised to see them opt in to something like the HR1 first. Now, the HR1, on by all accounts, is one of the harder maps in the pool. But I do think with Russia's proficiency on the Hard Rock compared to Australia, would not be surprised to just see them go for one of those picks early on here.
Yeah, definitely. I think Hard Rock is one of Russia's best strengths coming into this match. I was also thinking Hard Rock 3 maybe. I think their 6.5 might just be a little bit more comfy, and that Hard Rock 3 is a fairly conventional map, similar to the Hard Rock 1, but testing that small circle skill instead. Interesting to see what they go for here. I wouldn't be surprised if the Hard Rock 1 or Hard Rock 3 start off with.
Yeah, I find this pool pretty interesting, actually. It feels like, to start, there's not a lot of comfortable aim picks. The No Mod 1, even the HD 1, and that free mod kind of 3, which is somewhat of an aim pick, are all very awkward aims. So really your only options in terms of those more comfortable standard aim picks are the Hard Rock one that we talked about previously, and the DT one, which is AR 10.3, which feels completely different than your typical aim pick, but is fairly easy in this pool. Now, there's also quite a bit of finger control throughout the pool. Now, there isn't really a dedicated finger control map in this pool, but there are maybe half the maps in the pool, I'd say, have some finger control elements to them, and so there is that extra challenge to watch out for. And still waiting on Russia's pick here. Their timer is going to be up soon.
Yeah, and they go for DT3, which is interesting, considering they banned out the DT2 in Free Mod 1. I would consider this map pretty different, but I don't think it's something Australia is really going to struggle with. I'm pretty surprised. Yeah, I think, as you said, there is quite a lot of finger control in this pool. I think, generally speaking, at some point in this match, we'll have to see finger control get picked.
Absolutely, and DT3 is not one of those. It is kind of more of an alt-focused DT pick. It is AR 9.7, but honestly, it's hard to say what this map is really testing outside of the DT alt. And so, while it's not super comfortable, I don't think it's going to be particularly challenging for either of these two teams.
Yeah, I think the real challenge of this map comes down to the ending, where it picks up with the speed and the bursts get a little bit longer and more consistent. Before that, it's mostly just, most players are probably going to ult these jumps. I will be horrified if I see Dummy not single tapping this kind of map. 260 might be high for some, but for Dummy it's just a walk in the park. And yeah, just a few bursts before that ending section. I think it's gonna just come down to consistency, getting to the ending and seeing if you can get that FC.
Yeah, you mentioned the single tapping. I feel like ults up to 140 BPM is going to be single tappable for a decent subset of players. Definitely challenging, but not impossible. This one is only going to be 130, so I would not be surprised to see one or two players single tapping this. And we do have the roster starting to fill in here. Doomy, Monk the Dawn in for Australia so far, along with Sio now. Then we've got Temko, Dahushka, and Handsome in for the side of Russia.
Yeah, interesting. I think we won't see Welter here. We'll see Monk the Dawn in. I believe this is his first DT of the tournament, which I think is what he's, what he was put on the roster for. So it'll be interesting to see how he performs. But yeah, I think it's just going to be, just don't have a silly miss.
Yeah, and as we get into this pick, I'm really kind of curious that Russia did end up going for the first pick. We will see how it plays out, but Australia has looked really good on the alt pick so far throughout this tournament. And while yes, this is the DT, it is kind of that alt focus that Australia has looked good on. So we will have to see how it pays off, as everybody getting off to a pretty strong start. No early misses. There goes Monk, actually. I spoke too soon.
Yeah, unfortunate early miss, and this map is not that long. I think if that's the only miss, it shouldn't be too major, but definitely don't want to see more as we come a little bit deeper into the map. But that's going to give Russia the edge to start with.
Yep, edge is going to be ever so slight. Monk only 200 combo behind. Not going to be the end of the world by any means. But Monk finds another miss, and that's going to start to hurt big time. A quarter of the way into the map now. Russia's going to really start to push this lead. Accuracy pretty even across the board, but this map is really easy until we get into the next chorus, and that's where we're going to need to start to look for breaks from Russia.
Yeah, I mean, this is Russia's first pick, but so far it is just that one or two breaks from Monk the Dawn on the side of Australia. If Australia wants to take this, I think Russia has to miss pretty soon.
But as long as Doomy and Sio continue to hold the FCs, Australia does have a window back into this one, but Monk finds another miss. It was a low combo, so it's not going to be huge. There goes Handsome. That's a big one for the side of Russia. 2 FCs to 2. But I think Australia is going to need Russia to find another miss in order to make a comeback. And Siu finding the miss is not going to help out their cause at all. Doomy, the last one holding, and things are looking dire for Australia.
Yeah, this is definitely doable if Sio and Dummy held towards the ending and Russia found another break, but now it's going to be very, very difficult to pull back. You can already see Dahuchka and Dummy on 750k plus score. There's not much score left to get in this map.
No,
very surprised to see a comeback.
Yeah, realistically, we need to see both of those FCs on the side of Russia drop in the next 5 seconds. There goes Tashika, there goes Temka. Doomy is still holding, but I'm not sure if there's enough time. There's 300,000 score difference, and Doomy only has about 150,000 points to make up. And Seo, Monk, neither of them have the combo. And so this one is going to go to Russia, and they are going to be able to take their first point. Doomy finding a miss right at the end, and that's going to be a 1-0 start for Russia here.
Yeah, I mean, solid start. I think considering it was a bit of a gamble pick, paid off for Russia. They took out DT3 from the pool and started strong. Now that might make Australia a bit more pensive on something like a DT1. And you can just see on that map how much harder the ending was. Everybody finding breaks at the end there.
And it is the quarterfinals, so I do like Russia going for maybe one of these more coin flip picks and potentially trying to save some of their stronger picks for later on in this match when they want to get some momentum going. But Australia are going to have the next pick. I'm curious if we're going to see them opt into the DT. The only problem is...
No mod 5.
Okay, interesting.
This is an interesting map. So Russia banned Hidden 3 and No Mod 5 last week. Both pretty similar types of maps to this week. No Mod 5 last week, AR8, kind of gimmicky reading, you have to memorize it. This week, this No Mod 5 is a pretty big step up. You still have that AR8, you still have kind of gimmick reading, but now you have an alt map with like 1/4 spacing, which at this approach rating and with the kind of patterns you're going to see is very, very awkward, very practice-based. I think if you practice a lot, you can get some good scores in this map, but if you're not ready, I don't think you're going to do so well. So maybe Australia, betting that Russia hasn't practiced this because they weren't expecting it to be picked, and maybe just going to be a one-sided score. We'll have to see if Russia's ready for this.
Yeah, I could not agree more. The patterns and the rhythms in this map are not intuitive whatsoever, so if you go into this sight reading, you're going to have a very tough time, but a lot of the patterns and a lot of the rhythms throughout the song are fairly repetitive, so if you even get 1, maybe 2 plays through on the map, you can learn the patterns without too much challenge. And so it's going to be a question of have you practiced the map even once or twice. That could make all the difference on this one.
Yeah, and I think this is a case of maybe Russia just... We'll have to see if they're ready for this. I think if they're not, it's going to be fairly one-sided. It's just the way these kinds of maps are. You could have all the mechanics in the world, and if you just get tripped up by the wonky rhythm and patterns, it's just not going to do much.
We are going to have both teams switching out players here. Curious if we're going to be seeing Arbusion in for this one on the side of Australia. Was in the lobby for a moment, but did drop out.
Yeah, I think we saw... Arbusion played last week's No Mod 5 against Indonesia. Yeah, we saw Arbusion, Dummy, and Jordan the Bear. But we might see Vivace stepping in for Jordan the Bear's slot. Yeah, we don't really know what Russia's low AR team is capable of yet. We have yet to see them play an AR8 in this tournament, other than qualifiers.
No, they've been banning it out for the most part. Curious if we do... Okay, we're going to see Handsome back in for this one. And we should be getting into this one shortly. It's not a very long map. It is actually a fairly long No Mod pool overall, aside from the No Mod 5, under 2 minutes.
Yeah, and here we're going to step into the map. Arbusion, Dummy, Vivace on the side of Australia, and Temka, Vivaru, and Hansumi on the side of Russia. Yeah, I think we're going to see pretty clearly from, the first 20 seconds of the map the direction this is going to go as soon as the old patterns start kicking in.
Exactly. It should become very clear within the first 20-30 seconds of the map who has practiced and who hasn't. This map does not take long to get into these rhythmic, kind of weird overlapping patterns. And while nobody has missed yet, look at the accuracies on both sides. Everybody on Russia dropping towards that 95% accuracy. Temka and Arbusion are going to trade misses, but right now is a massive accuracy lead for Australia. And on a map this short, where we do expect to see more breaks, that accuracy can play a huge factor, especially when the discrepancy is so massive. Arbusion does find another miss, though, and this time not traded by anyone on the side of Russia. Thankfully, they do still have 2 FCs to work with. And due to their accuracy, they're going to hold on to the lead for now, but Arbusion cannot afford too many more misses here.
Arbusion is fine, struggling through these patterns, and honestly, from the way it looks like Russia has practice, I think if they were not prepared, they would be doing a lot worse than they are right now. They're actually getting through this very, very well. They were clearly ready for this pick. Arbusion on Australia finding some struggles, but Australia is still holding on because of Dummy and Vivace's accuracy.
But look how short the map is. We're almost coming to the end, and there hasn't been a single drop from Russia, aside from the early one from Temka. And oh, there goes Hanson. That's a big miss out of Russia. Oh, and there goes Vordi. Vivace does miss, but Doomy holds on, and that's going to be big for Australia. They should be able to bring this one back.
Yeah, the map is on Dummy's hands, but he breaks! Now, there's a 100k score gap, which is honestly pretty large on a map like this. However, Russia has a combo lead with that full reset from Australia. If Australia has a few chain misses, this could swing the other side, but there's just not enough time. Extremely close. I think if the map was just like 10-20 seconds long, that would have swung to Russia's favor, but Australia does take their first point by a narrow margin, which is what they need. Do you not want to start the match with a loss on your own pick?
Absolutely do not. That is always a confidence shaker, and it really did come down to the accuracies on that one. Despite having comparable combos across the board outside of Arbusion, it did feel like Australia was just slightly more comfortable on the map overall, and that made the difference here. And now it's going to be Russia. Back with the next pick. Do have quite a few options. Whole HR pool still available. They have the DT4 as well, which is going to be another one of those alt-style DT picks. Now, unlike the DT3, this one is going to be a much kind of older feeling DT4 pick.
Yeah, this DT4, there is really no equivalent of this map in the previous weeks. This is a very different type of DT. It's AR9 after DT at like 296 BPM, really, really space flow aim patterns that are just even harder to aim because of the relatively low approach rating. So I'll be interested to see if either team picks it. It's a bit of an unknown which team will be the strongest on that. I think finding 3 players who are comfortable on a map like DT4 is going to be very difficult. But if you can find 3 players who can play it, I think you just go for it.
Absolutely, and I think in these lower seeded matches, you know, in losers bracket, 12 versus 13 seed, you don't even necessarily need 3 players that can play the map super well at this point. If you have 2 players that can put up strong scores on the map, that's probably good enough, but again, it's really hard to know what the other team can put up on the map, so if that's the case, you probably want to save that for later, and not as a second pick.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard to know how the teams will perform because they don't really have data to reference, but I don't know. Considering I doubt Russia's gonna pick DT1, but they're gonna go for free mod 2. So sticking to that, a similar BPM range as the map they just played, 158 BPM, the alt kind of flow aim alt map in the free mod slot.
Yeah, this one is going to be fairly aim control heavy. Of course, free mod rules are that each team does need 2 mods, so likely going to see a hidden, a hard rock, and a no mod. I can't really envision any other mods on this one.
Yeah, I think it is allowed to go double hard rock no mod, I believe. Could see it if the teams are more comfortable going that direction.
Certainly possible, but on a map like this, I can't imagine most players being more comfortable on the hard rock. It does feel slightly hidden favored to me. And so if anything, I would imagine it's more likely we see 2 hiddens than it is we see 2 hard rocks. But of course, does depend on the players. I know Doomy does like the hidden.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think for a map like this, especially when it comes to accuracy, it's OD8 no mod. So you take it up to OD10 with hard rock, you have a finger control like map, your accuracy just goes absolutely plummets if you have hard rock in a map like this. So I do agree. I'll most likely see hard rock, a hidden, and a no mod on both teams. I think probably see Arbusion on the hard rock, Dummy on the hidden, and Sao on the no mod, the side of Australia. Actually still haven't yet to see Welterin on the side of Russia. Kind of surprising.
Yeah, not the kind of map you expect to see over mods either. just by the nature of the map, it does tend to be one of the trickier ones to go free mod on. But good luck, have funs in the chat. We should be getting the mod shortly, and we should be getting into this one. Another very sharp map. These two teams just want to speedrun this match, and here we go. 2 Hard Rocks on the side of Russia. Hidden Hard Rock on the side of Arbusian.
Yeah, Arbusian on the Hidden Hard Rock. Oh, and Sayo on the Hidden Hard Rock. Now, to be fair, I think on a map like this, if you already have the Hard Rock, adding Hidden doesn't make it too much harder. I think for some players, it'll actually make it easier and more comfortable. But this is effectively 2 Hard Rock versus 2 Hard Rock, but Australia with a slight mod advantage. An early miss from Dummy, but it's honestly a pretty short map, so you don't want to see too many misses like that.
You really don't, and you have to look at the accuracies as well. They are going to even out across the board because Manua's accuracy is so low. There is a big miss out of Handsome though, and normally misses that early don't matter too much, but we're already a quarter of the way into the map, and that is the no mod miss, so it is worth quite a bit less than either of the modded combos here, but Doomy has recovered nicely, and so Australia are going to be out to an early lead on Russia's pick here. Not only that, but they do still have both Hidden Hard Rocks going strong, and as we get later and later into the map, with the accuracies that they have up at 97, those Hidden Hard Rock multipliers are going to start to be really big compared to just the Hard Rock on the side of Russia.
Yeah, and especially with the accuracy favoring on the side of Australia. And we're already almost 2/3 into the map. There's not much time left. However, saying that, if we see a miss on the side of Australia, it will start to swing towards Russia's favor. But Sayo and Arbusian both are FCing on that Hidden Hard Rock, and Dummy's recovered, but Sayo does miss.
There's still a quarter of the map to go, but Handsome trades it right back. That was the low combo. It's still 2 FCs to 1. Doomy not far behind at all, and I think if Doomy can hold on, Australia's going to take it, and there goes Manua. That should steal it. And it looks like we're going to be seeing a very early break point for Australia here, as they're going to steal this one away.
Huge break point, and is Arbusian going to FC with that Hidden Hard Rock?
Certainly seems to be the case.
Wow, that's... It's important to consider on a map like this, that's alt finger control. 97.82% AC on that Hidden Hard Rock is very impressive with that OD10, considering the no mod players are playing on OD8. You can see on the side of Russia the AC struggles by using that Hard Rock, so very impressive score from Arbusian and solid follow-up scores from Sayo and Dummy.
Yeah, and it's nice to see Arbusian kind of shake off the no mod 5 there that you did have some troubles with. Now pulling off an FC on the HDHR. He is here to play, and now Australia has another pick. They're going to look to get themselves a 2-point lead here, and we're so early in this match that Australia still has quite a few options. Now, there is the no mod 3 that Australia has looked on so far, but based on the feedback I have seen from the players, this is a fairly easy no mod 3 compared to the rest of the pool, so we might see them shy away from this one, and they're going to opt for the HR2 instead.
Yeah, so the Hard Rock 2 is, I guess, the only non-conventional. It's still relatively conventional for a Hard Rock tech map, but it's straying away from that, pure aim that Hard Rock 3 and Hard Rock 1 has. So, I mean, I think this is a fair pick, considering you won because of that double Hard Rock v double Hard Rock on that free mod 2. You'd be trying to carry that Hard Rock momentum along onto this pick.
Clearly showing that they are comfortable on the Hard Rock, but so is Russia. They had the 2 Hard Rocks as well, and the question is, both of these teams are going to be looking to fill out a third Hard Rock player. Looks like for Australia, that third is going to be Vache and perhaps the Hushka on the side of Russia. Now, while this map is primarily tech-focused, there are a couple spaced aim control patterns that can catch players out with the Hard Rock spacing. We'll have to watch out for those.
I think from a pure mechanical standpoint, this is the easiest Hard Rock, but when you think about, having silly misses, breaks on the cut streams, on the cut doubles, potential for breaks like that on this map.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. That Hard Rock 1 is actually brutally hard, and then the Hard Rock 3, of course, being CS 6.5. Unusual for the Hard Rock tech pick to be the easier one in the pool, but I think here that is certainly the case. Everybody getting off to a fairly strong start, and once again, it has been consistent throughout this match. Australia off to an early accuracy lead. Vache does find an early miss now, and one more time. This is a very short map, so those early misses are going to matter. Back and forth sliders are going to claim 2. Temka and Arbusian falling now. into the main text section as Sio, Dahuka, and Manua all holding the full combos. Vivace not far behind.
Yeah, it's 1 FC to 2, and I think we've just been seeing a lot of the very short maps being picked from this pool. But these early misses make such a difference, and Vivace breaking again near the halfway point, but Dahuchka trades, and now the FCs are even. It's going to even out a lot more. I think the accuracies are favoring Australia because of that 99 from Sayo. Very impressive act on a map like this OD10 Hard Rock Tech. Not easy to get 99 on.
Yep, and now all eyes are on Siu and Manawa. Both of these players are the two holding the FCs, and it is on them to hold on to the rest of the map. There goes
Manawa breaks right before the break where everybody can see, and now the pressure is on Sayo to perform. If he FCs, I think this is a wrap, but do not want to see a miss here. You know, being a new pickup on the side of Australia for 3WC, and I think just recently entering the tournament scene, he's been performing very well just on these few matches he's played. And Temka and Dahuchka trade, that basically is a full reset on the side of Russia, and now Australia's going to take this away.
Yeah, Sio nails the jumps, but Russia does not. They are falling apart at the seams. Arbusian and Vivace have recovered so nicely here. Both of them back above that 500 combo mark, and while it looked close at the start, towards the end of this map, Australia is going to be off to a very dominant point and up 3-1 now.
That's another FC on the side of Australia. Really solid performance by Sayo, getting not just the FC, but the best accuracy in the lobby. Everybody else floating around 92, and I don't even want to talk about Arbusian's score, but it's pretty good as well.
Now that was Australia's pick, so not an unexpected loss for Russia, but does hurt to get blown out by that much, and I think we're going to see Russia just look to go for their strongest pick remaining, try and get the momentum back. Really don't want to be giving up a second breakpoint here.
Yeah, I think you just have to compose yourself. I don't really know if they want to go for those hard rocks that we did mention seem to be a strength from Russia, but although they haven't played a standard aim hard rock yet, I think after that Fremod 2 and that hard rock 2, you're kind of shied away, especially after that hard rock 2. And if you're not going for hard rocks, I don't know what you go for here. Maybe a hidden one, potentially. That is something I think they picked last week. Could go for it again.
Yeah, I do think the hidden one could look good for them. Is there a chance we see the no-mod one even? Maybe go for something a little bit easier for the players and get a little bit of confidence back. And Australia, who has looked pretty comparable to Russia on these aim picks so far, so that one will be a bit of a coin flip.
Yeah, aim is generally one of those things you could FC, you could get 400k, 500k, it's just hard to know. But I think this no-mod one is quite a big step from last week's. They go for DT4. One of the harder maps in the pool, and as we talked about, that kind of unknown. We're not really sure how Russia is going to perform on this, and same for Australia because we haven't really seen a map like this in the tournament so far.
Yeah, and this is unsurprising. This is a pick I actually expected from them a pick ago because it is fairly similar to the DT3 in terms of it testing that DT alt. Now, it is a much older style, much more of a flow aim test, whereas DT3 is a little bit more snappy, on top of it being AR9, of course. Now, AR9 doesn't seem too low, but when you compare it to the usual ARs of these DT picks, 9.7, 10.3 being what these players are used to, it is a huge difference when you drop down to that AR9. And this is the kind of map where we can absolutely see one or two players pop off and put up a strong carry performance.
Yeah, 100%. This is another short map, but very, very hard to FC because of those very spaced, like pentagon-shaped patterns. AR9 for this BPM is very low, so it's going to be a reading challenge for sure. Expect to see maybe a similar roster on that DT3 on both sides, or maybe something like Dummy Sayo Arbusian for Australia. I think they're all pretty solid flying players. I'm not sure if Welter is here today, because he played almost every map for Russia on the last round and qualifiers, so they might just not have him available, which is very unfortunate for Team Russia.
Yeah, it doesn't appear so. Is not online at the moment, and so that's going to be a big loss for Russia if he's not available. Now, this DT4 is interesting. I actually expect the lineups are going to be a little bit more similar to the other low AR picks, notably that Nomad 5, because despite it being a DT pick, thanks to that AR9, it does play a lot more similar to an alt Nomad map. That's just kind of old and outdated.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. This kind of is a very... It stands out from the other DT maps for sure. It's kind of an extension of that Nomad 3 slot into the DT pool. Probably a harder Nomad 3 than the actual Nomad 3 this week. But getting into it.
And this is the kind of map I would expect a player like Dumi to put up a really good score on. This does seem like his style, not necessarily his style of map, but something that he has been able to play in the past. And I can imagine we see a solid score from him.
Yeah, I think considering he's been playing the game for a very long time, he's existed before the era of AR9 DT, so he's definitely had experience on the AR DTs. But we see 2 early breaks from Handsome and Temka, and Vivace trading. You can just see breaks all over the place.
Yeah, breaks on both sides so far. It is 3 FCs left in the lobby, 2 of those on the side of Australia, and just look at the accuracy on Dumi. My god.
Yeah, showing the comfort. But I know why he's hacking. Notice his other key, I don't think is yet to be pressed. He is Gatling gunning this 294 BPM. A little bit easier to hack if you don't have to control your fingers because you're only using one. But and he's the only one who got through that, as well as Temka. I'm not sure if Temka's on a combo though.
Yeah,
but not much.
Oh, that's a big miss from Dumi, though. There is Temka with 200 combo, is the highest combo in the lobby by quite a bit, so is going to pull this one back for Russia, and with Dumi not able to hold on, there's just no supporting combo from CO or Vivace. There goes Temka, though. Vivace trading, but Australia is going to be very happy with that trade. Now Vivaru and CO trading. It's going to be Dumi versus Handsome. Dumi has gotten the better of that matchup so far, but Dumi is going to need to pull out some big combo toward the end of this map if they want to make a comeback here.
Yeah, this is a bit of a slugfest now. Super duper close. It's just going to come down to which team can keep it together through this last quarter. Dummy and Handsome have the only combos in this map, and they both miss at the exact same pattern. Scripted.
Is this anybody's scheme? It's not even 10,000 points difference, and there's no combo. There goes Varu. Varache trading it back as well. Accuracy is falling apart on the side of Russia, though, and that's going to give Australia the edge. Vivace continues to chain miss, but CO has recovered just enough, and unless we see a disaster from Australia, it looks like the point is going to go to them. It is still anyone's game. CO now finds the miss. It's only Dumi holding. Temka and Vivaru both have their combos getting up there. The score bar is going back over ever so slowly, but there's not going to be enough time, and Dumi is going to close it out, getting another point for Australia, and it's going to be 4-1 now with 2 breakpoints.
It's another super close pick, and if you're Russia, you have to be kicking yourself in the feet. I mean, you had this map that was super duper close. You had the Nomad 5 that was very, very close. 2 picks that could have gone the other way, you know, if you just had a couple fewer misses. But that's going to put Australia in a dominant position, 4-1 going into their pick.
I have to appreciate the Dumi accuracy, and I will say, as someone who also does tend to single tap these kind of DT4 picks, it does make the map significantly easier if you can single tap that, because it tends to be, the alt tends to be, okay, hopefully we can get that audio fixed in a second, but the alt does tend to be slow enough that if you can single tap it, it's all the same BPM. There's not really a single rhythm change. There's not a single burst. So you can kind of mindlessly single tap your way through the map without having to think about it too much, as long as you can keep your rhythm consistently. And from there, you just have to focus on aim. So not only does it make the accuracy easier because you're just single tapping very consistently, something not quite as easy to do when you're alternating at that speed, but it lets you focus on your aim quite a bit more as well. So single tapping for Dumi going to be a big advantage for that one. But moving on, we have the HR3 pick now for Australia.
Yeah, so this is something originally we were looking for Russia to pick, but after the dominant performance from Australia on that Hard Rock team, Sayo and Arbusion in the lobby, performing really well on those other Hard Rocks. Maybe expect to see Jordan the Bear coming in as the 3rd player on the side of Australia. Looks like Russia will have Dehujka, Manua, and Temka Na. I think this is... I mean, just from precedent, I would say Australia is going to be favored on a map like this. It's very just kind of basic aim and some bursts. It's just how well can you aim those small circles, basically.
That is always the question. I do think, of any of the maps left in the pool, this is probably one of the maps I would give Russia a chance on. They did look good on the small circle hard rock in qualifiers. I'm not sure if they played it in their last match, but I could certainly see this one going either way. And outside of the hard rock one, honestly, a lot of the pool does get quite a bit easier after this map. So we'll see if that kind of easier skill cap for the rest of the pool does help Russia out later on in this match. But for now, here we are. Jordan the Bear does come in for this one, like you mentioned.
Yeah, his first map of the match, I believe. And if there is a map where you can take a surprise breakpoint, it is this one, 6.5. Even if you're a really solid 6.5 player, you can have misses, and we see that from Sayo.
Yep, and Dahushka did find an early miss as well. Now Jordan the Bear, his first map, doesn't quite get there in Arbusian now, so it has actually been a full reset for Australia. Manua follows it up.
And Russia.
It's actually now just Dahushka versus Sio. Those two players who missed early on are now the only two remaining. Temka finds another miss now. Oh,
this is just that kind of map where I wouldn't be surprised if all of these players have like an FC in their locals. But then you get on to play it in match, and you can see a break from Dahushka, the biggest combo gone on the side of Russia, giving a big advantage to Australia. But yeah, you just never know how you're going to play a map like this in match versus practice. It's very hard to tell how the nerves will affect you.
Yeah, and this one is falling apart very quickly for Russia. Yes, you have Manua and Temka recovering a little bit, but still up to 400 combo. Arbusian not far behind, and a third of the map to go. Yes, the end of this map is hard, but Temka and Manua both need to nail this ending, and last time we saw this chorus, Temka especially really under-aimed these patterns. So again, just needs to aim a little bit more. Manua does hold on, but with the Dahushka breaking and the 300,000 point lead for Australia, I don't think there's enough time for Russia to make a comeback, and it looks like they're going to be up 5-1 here, as Sio and Arbusian look to close out this ending with massive combos.
And I mean, just look at that accuracy from Sayo, considering he did drop a miss. 99.76. Can he get 99.8 maybe? But yeah, just another very solid performance from Sayo and Arbusian, that consistent hard rock duo in this match on the further side of Australia. We'll be taking that, going 5-1.
And that is a 1 times 100, 1 miss out of Sayo. That is absolutely ridiculous on the Hard Rock 2, the Hard Rock 3, just blowing the rest of the lobby out of the water in terms of accuracy here.
Yeah, that is very impressive in a tournament match where you're not just playing nothing but hard rock, you're playing other things as well, and you have one attempt. So extremely solid performance from Australia, but it is Russia's next pick, and now they're on match point. Their back is against the wall. If they have any map they're feeling really good on, they should pick it now, because they need to shift that momentum as soon as possible to have a chance.
Yeah, this is do or die for Russia. I'm curious if we do see something like the DT1, they could just opt into some of those easier picks in the pool and just try and be more consistent than Australia, because it does seem so far like Australia has just been the higher skill cap team. And so I'm not sure you really want to go for something like the HG3 or even the Nomad 4 that are a little bit trickier. And you notice it is all of the ones available still.
Yeah, and honestly, I think if your back is against the wall, you just go for the ones. That's where you're probably going to be comfortable, and your opponent's going to be comfortable, but you just hope they have a break and you can start swinging things back. I don't know which one you go for. I think you avoid DT1 and probably Hard Rock 1. I think you'd go for Hidden 1 or Nomad 1 in the situation. I think you kind of want to stay away from that Hard Rock 1 considering how things have been going, but they go for Nomad 3, which, to be fair, I think is also one of the easier maps in the pool, but it is very long. So there's a lot of chance to have a break, even though the map overall is on the comfy side of difficulty.
Yes, this map is very much a consistency test. According to player feedback, very easy, but again, very long, so one miss could be the difference between being eliminated and getting another chance at this one.
Yeah, and for wanting a closer match, I hope Russia can collect themselves and keep their mental strong going into this pick. It's going to be necessary because it is pretty long, one of the longer maps in the pool. So the focus needs to be there for a map like this.
Yep. And this is 150 BPM alt, so in theory should not be single tappable for Doomy.
In theory, we'll see.
That we will.
It's a pretty close BPM to DT4, so I think it's possible for sure. And we're also going to see Sayo and Arbusion, both players playing pretty well, and they're both pretty comfortable on alt. So Australia's chances are honestly pretty solid here.
Yeah, Australia's chances have been good throughout the match, and I think they're going to continue to look strong on the Snowmon 3. It just comes down to whether Russia can put up some big scores and hold onto their combos. And based on the difficulty of this map, I feel like you can really only afford 1, maybe 2 breaks on each player, because that is the most you can expect out of Australia.
Yeah, no, I do agree with how they have been playing so far, but I think the good lucks are coming out to get into the map soon.
Yep, Temka, Maniwa, Varu are going to be the 3 players looking to keep themselves in the tournament. Cannot afford to make any more mistakes at this point.
And in terms of nerves, I think Russia might be feeling it a bit more than Australia. Australia has that, plenty of chances where they can make mistakes, but Russia cannot.
Yeah, and as expected, Doomy is going to be ulting this one. It is so much harder to single tap these kind of zigzag patterns, not only because of the length of the patterns, but because of the length of the map. Single tapping these high BPM patterns is incredibly stamina intensive, and so not going to be seeing that this time around. And it's going to be a pretty easy start to the map, and what that means is for either side, you can't really afford to miss outside of the hard sections in the chorus, because if you miss on the slow section, it's really just free combo, free score advantage for the other team. And here we go into the first chorus. This is where we could potentially start to see breaks, but none so far. It's going to be incredibly close. Accuracy relatively stable on both sides. Australia with a slight edge.
Yeah, and I think there's one pretty challenging pattern where you have lots of cut doubles, I believe, on this map. So it's gonna come down to how many people get there with the combo and how many people can get past it with a combo. But I think for now, we hopefully should see no misses from either team.
Yeah, and these alt maps do tend to be those maps that are very, very easy to play in terms of accuracy, but they're so easy to find a random miss on, especially with nerves. So easy to shake off any one of these zigzag patterns. You see the flowing patterns are going to be fairly easy for a lot of these players, but it's the triangle patterns as well as those zigzags you have to watch out for. You see Vavaru dropping a bunch of accuracy on this one, but not going to find any misses. That's the key, and it's still 6 FCs.
Both teams are looking pretty strong. I honestly don't really know what to say. It's just holding on for that first miss.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we expected into the next chorus now. I would not be surprised to see one of those misses coming in towards the end of the map. These patterns do start to get a little bit trickier as we get farther into the map, but we are certainly not going to have 6 SCs on the map. The question is, who is going to be the one to break, and will Russia or Australia find the first break? Does everybody get through this course into the zigzag pattern? It claims all of Russia, Doomy as well. And Australia are in a commanding lead now if Arbusion and Seo can hold on, but this upcoming section is just absolutely free combo for Australia. They've got about 15, maybe 20 seconds where they absolutely should not be able to miss, and I think this is going to spell the end for Russia.
I cannot believe that. That didn't really seem like a special or a unique pattern. That was just one of the, many wiggles we see in this map, and all of Russia broke. And I think you are right. Now Australia, it's going to be extremely unlikely for them to throw this back. I think we are getting into the hard section of the map.
Yep.
But you can see these cut doubles.
Yeah, even then, they're not that much harder as long as you have the rhythms down. They're not super difficult to aim, so I would not be super surprised to see both Sayo and Arbusion pulling out full combos here.
And yeah, I think with that, the rest of the map is pretty similar to what we've already seen. And honestly, even if they do miss, just know you have the, two 500 combos on the side of Russia, but for a map this long, it's not enough to take this back.
Nope, now all eyes are on Arbusion and Kaio. See if we can get some of those FCs, but while we wait to see that, very, very well played to both teams. Russia, unfortunately, will be eliminated from 3WC, whereas Australia is going to be moving on to the next round of the losers bracket.
Yeah, I think this is a step up in performance from Australia compared to last week. Not that they played last week, but they played really well today, especially from Sayo and Arbusion, those star players getting some pretty big FCs in the match. And on the side of Russia, they played well, but it's just unfortunate they didn't have their kind of main carry player available today. I'm not sure what happened there, but that'll be GG's. Can we see the double FC from Sayo and Arbusion? And there it is. Both over 99% as well.
Yes, we can. And Australia is going to be a scary team to face. Whoever drops into the losers bracket to play against them, they've put up some very strong team scores across this match. 2.5 million on the No Mod 3 is going to be terrifying regardless of which team you are. And unfortunately for Russia, missing Walther just turned out to be too much for them and only able to put up a point in this quarterfinals match.
Yeah, very unfortunate to be down a player, but sometimes life happens and you have to make do. But Australia will be going on through losers bracket. It'll be goodbye to Russia, but I think Australia's up against, let me see,
the loser of South Korea and China. That match actually up next at 14 UTC. So yes, Australia is going to have a very, very tough road ahead of them.
I think either way, you're up against a very, very strong team, and be interested to see South Korea versus China. It's going to be a great match. Yeah, hope to see everyone there.
Yep, certainly is, and I think that is going to be it for us. I will be back, joined by Knots for the South Korea-China match at 14 UTC, so I hope you all stay tuned for that. Thank you so much to Vordi for commentating with me and Hoa for the stream. I have been iFlame. I hope you guys have all enjoyed the stream. Thank you for watching, and take care.
Take care.